Welcome back to Visual Trigger.
It's been, I think, I mean, sure, I post on Instagram, but first things first, let's revisit our little friend Glenn Morangi. Well, I have the eye thing set, so I guess there's no eye in the in my scotch. So you just kind of have to block your face. It works pretty good, damn good though. I swear I'm not a fucking alcoholic. And I mean, you know, I have had a little more to drink since all this COVID bullshit started. Yeah, I like this. So before I get into the photo blog, I'm also doing this in 4K. I know I said I wouldn't do it in 4K, but I thought it would show the photos a little better in 4K. So I don't know. I mean, it's not the same aspect ratio. So I did the short edge at 2160, and basically, so I haven't done a photo blog that I since like 2012. I think I totally soured on that whole thing. I posted photos on Tumblr, but the photo blog as a photo blog, the way I knew it, took a lot of fucking time. And you know, I didn't have that kind of time, and I didn't have the desire. I don't know. But I thought about it. I've been looking through a lot of the scans lately, and there are aspects about it I totally miss. So I figured out, why don't I do a photo vlog instead of blog? Because, I mean, when I see someone post a blog, who the fuck cares? I guess blogs to me just, I don't know, they just went away. And I don't even know what a fucking vlog is. I mean, I've seen on Facebook people post what they think is a vlog, and I guess that is like, oh, we drove at night tonight and shut down Los Angeles. We went to the beach today and just looked at it from our car window. I guess that's a vlog. I don't really know. I'm not interested in that kind of thing, but you know, I'd like to show some photos. So I think what I'll do is, instead of captions as I used to, well, not really captions, or just like some weird fucking thought about a frame. 98% of these were shot on either Tri-X or T-Max 400 or T-Max 100 with a Leica MP with only one. I only really use one lens, 35 Summilux aspherical, and it kind of goes from the Pacific Northwest down to Los Angeles, back to the Pacific Northwest. And when I first went, you know, in the news, you heard about all this bullshit, but it wasn't here. And then, I mean, during flu season, because a doctor buddy told me, if you do anything, just use hand sanitizer anywhere you touch. Just be really mindful during flu season. Well, this was like flu season on steroids. And I don't really consider myself a totally paranoid person, but you know, like this first frame, I've cooked 60 nights, 60 days I've cooked. A few times I've gone out and supported a couple of the local businesses, of course. But for the most part, I cooked. And when I looked at this frame, I was like, oh, I remember what I eat there. And I wonder if this girl on the phone checking whatever the hell she's checking. I mean, she had no idea that she was going to lose her job. And it's so many people. I know so many people who've lost their jobs in so many different areas and industries. It's fucking freaky. I mean, when I was down there, I also got to go to a dog show because I like dog shows. I like dogs. I like particular dogs too. And I just love that when you see show dogs like this, largely they haven't eaten all day because you don't want them to like take a dump in the ring. It's always embarrassing when a dog takes a dump in the ring, and I've seen it. Clean up in aisle 9. I mean ring 9. And even though cameras are ubiquitous, when you pick up, where is she? Oh, here she is. When you pick up this thing, I think people know they're getting their picture taken. Because more often in this set of photos, which 75 photos, that would have taken a while with a photo blog, because I would have written it and then I would have edited it. I mean, this is going to take a little while too, but I kind of have a system set up. But I knew this girl saw me take her picture, and I'm sure she was like, that's not a digital camera. Met up with I look back and being able to just go pop in for a pizza, go pop in for whatever. And I miss restaurants. Except today what is today? The 20th. We went to our first restaurant and sat down with, the caution tape on every other booth. It was very strange. Because sometimes you want to go have Mexican food. You just, when you grew up on the West, I don't know how it is on the East Coast. This is the dude I went to lunch with, one of the best. I'm going to get him on here. He will, and he's going to be pissed I put this picture up. One of the best photographers I know. One of the best dudes I know. Stories have you ever been taken hostage? Yeah. Well, that man has. I've said twice. Oh, motherfucker. And This is the reason this next frame is one of the reasons I love having a camera with me. And it's not wearing a fucking camera. It's actually using your camera and making frames and not getting caught when in the places you don't want to get caught. I mean, if you want to go gilding someone, yeah, I get it. You call it one thing, I call it my fucking happy place. And this dude right here is a legend in so many different spheres of reality for people. There's nobody better. And you can argue that absolutely great. I know the groups who train with this man. I respect those groups. And, I will always train with this gentleman because there is no better in the world. And there's a woman who goes around and collects recycling in some neighborhoods in Los Angeles. So we went for a little walk. Just, you kind of go places where I don't know. I like to go places and see how it's changed. How I've changed, how I view things now. But she always had 2 dogs that were mean as shit. And I think the Chihuahua looks like it's mellowed with age, but she had a new one, and I don't think he's too friendly. Had that big roll right there. Bet you he didn't realize how much worth that, or how much that, or I don't know what its worth would be pretty soon, seeing as how all the fucking freaks out there made a run on everything. I don't know. I just like the dude painting whatever he was painting. And then oddly, I came up with like right down sunset, just this weird, I don't know, I guess it's a painting or graffiti or something. It was on like a dilapidated retaining wall. So these dudes, I'm just standing there with my camera. I don't fucking care. I'm going to take a picture. And so I look at the guy and I'm like, so you're wondering, I'm just doing my job, making sure this concrete gets poured. And some asshole walks up with a camera and he's like, well, you're a fucking mind reader too. I thought it was pretty funny. And, you know, getting the nice pour over. You don't get to do that right now. At least, well, let's see. I don't know if I've seen any coffee places open. But, you know, sometimes I like a nice pour over. So I was giggling like a fucking 12-year-old. I see another dude at this job site, and my kid was like, Dad, you're such a whatever. I don't know what the hell she called me. She called me something. Because it said open hole, and I thought that was funny. It is funny. Yeah, and then you have Los Angeles, like just Los Angeles. This is Los Angeles. Like I'm sure they're both, you know, working on the script, working on some idea. I don't know. Maybe they both own Reds, you know, and they're gonna make the next big blockbuster. And the girl walking with flowers, she walked by 3 times. Yeah, the need for being around humans, it's a very strange thing. And that particular table, and it's funny because I asked my kid, I was like, what do you think she does? And she's like, she's probably a fucking magician, Dad. And I'm like, oh, thanks, asshole. And then, you know, I love people who are taking care of the environment, the Prius, but they're still killing themselves. And yeah, I wish there wasn't a little bit of motion blur in this, but I still like the frame. The one, the only Frank Jackson and his poor little coffee cup that has been all over the planet and it broke. But if he put it back I'm pretty sure he put it back together. Yes, he did, because that's it. She likes donuts. And I like dry cleaners that, I don't know, at night with lights or shirts hanging up. I don't know what it is. I've always just seen shirts hanging up, and I will always make a frame. My friend's dog, I think he was tired. I see this sign on the freeway or like on the highway, and I've never just stopped because I'm usually trying to get somewhere, and this time didn't really have to be anywhere because I just didn't have to be anywhere. And it said history, and I've always wanted to get that frame. So this is something I'm actually going to print. It looks like a challenging print too. My buddy Ryan and his cat, I think her name is Cleopatra, and his Konica Hexar RF, I think it is. It's always been a camera I wanted to try out. That dude totally caught me. But you know, I saw some of his tattoos, and I'm pretty sure he probably had a felony somewhere in his life. And you know, I guess when you've been that course of life, you probably notice everything, even the super. I'm pretty stealth when I take a picture, but not with that guy. Yeah, and I think this was probably a week before that shit got all shut down. Americans love themes. Such a trip. I like Mexican food though. I want to say that was almost, because now this is in Seattle. Literally the place that was the hotbed The first hotbed in the US, and that's where I end up. But, people still seem to be out. There were intermittent use of facial masks. But I mean, I don't think there was any facial masks going off at the cuff that night. Well, I mean, they might be fucking leather. I have no idea what Belltown was, but it had 4 eyes, and I was like, okay. And the public market, like, if you've never been there in Seattle, it's so freaking cool. It's Yeah, I know it's such a tourist trap, but I know a lot of people from Seattle who still go there and buy stuff because beautiful vegetables. There's a great place to buy cheese and the funny thing is, not everybody like this guy was in some, I don't know what Starbucks this was, but it was the fanciest fucking Starbucks I've ever seen in my life. It was massive, and they sold all sorts of. I was shocked what I saw. Really cool though. And I'm not being racist. It's just you see Asian people wear masks way more than any people. When I'm in airports, it was. Oh, I mean, I did see the rando, non-Asian, but for the most part, it's Asian people who wear masks, even in here. And I'm not sure how you drink coffee with a mask on. It seemed people were still, not really social distancing. I hate that fucking phrase. It's so dumb. And someday I hope someone finds the person who came up with it. Because I'm sure it's some ivory tower fucking academic who's never seen a pandemic in its life. His life, her life, I don't know. I know you have to be like pronoun specific these days. I mean, everything just shut. In fact, I think we left the day before the public market just shut on this wonderful wall of cheese. I think I might go back just for that wall of cheese because I bought 5 or 6 types to take home. And this was the first time I saw people in masks kind of walking around. Now, a few of these photos were not with they're XT3, and I converted it, to monochrome. Yeah, stock C worst drop since 2008. That was a weird day. I mean, I'm sure this guy's totally prepared for any kind of pandemic. Anything, actually. And even in the first few days of being somewhere where that was the hotbed of activity, there was still humor, and I thought that was pretty cool. There were also doors that said, if you're showing symptoms of cold or flu consistent with King County directives, we must respectfully decline admittance to this establishment. And I think they closed the next day. I'm pretty sure that's the day restaurants closed. I'm sure it looks just like this. There's nobody. Maybe, I don't know when they're going to open, actually. Oh, it just went out of focus. There we go. But when I got back, that's when we went shopping hardcore. I'm hoping that scenes like this, I hope it gets back to normal and people do what they have to do to make themselves feel comfortable to, get out there and interact and buy their stuff and do whatever we did before this bullshit hit us. So when we got back, it was a trip because we were behind Seattle and people still weren't wearing masks, especially the workers. You could still get, because you can't make pizza at home. You need the right oven, and otherwise it's fucking gummy and it sucks. So we got some curbside, and this girl, she actually delivered her curbside. on roller skates, which was kind of cool. And a lot of people complain about being cooped up. Well, I'm surrounded by farmland and vineyards, and you can go walk for as long as you'd like. And I do sometimes. And then you go to Portland, and it's different. People, I don't know what it is. I mean, I guess everybody's going through everything, and they all handle it differently. But this was the first time I saw masks everywhere, and the ubiquitous social flow arrow things. It's like, I hope we don't see those again in our lives. And I went to places I didn't normally go, just because I wanted to get photos, and if someone's at a drive-through window, I ask. I'm not gonna just bam. I'm not gonna fucking paparazzi somebody. I'm not gonna gilden them. But I found it interesting. Everybody said yes. A couple said, "Oh, we're not supposed to," but they ended up saying, "But that's fine." I like this one, especially with her eyes closed. And it wasn't too far, like, I'm not sure the exact timeline because it's all a fucking blur. I don't know what day it is. I knew it was yesterday was election day, so it was the 19th, but otherwise I don't fucking know. But this was one of the first times where I saw people, everybody was in masks. And then the ubiquitous, these fucking signs. It's like Orwell. It's just so weird. Just to remind us. Social distance, please respect the 6 feet. And there's obviously signs like this dude of fatigue with this whole thing. But in the context of a big grocery store, especially a regional one, you have to respect like these older people. If I were, I would be, taking all sorts of precautions if I was in that particular age group. And I saw, a lot of them were, I mean, this was when people were fucking freaking. And yeah, sometimes I get exceptionally lucky and nobody sees me make the frame. I still love that. I don't know. I knew something was happening behind me, so I just kind of stopped and made a frame of this older couple putting their stuff into their van. And I wonder, like, what their existence during this whole thing, Like, what news do they watch? What are they making for dinner tonight? This dude, and it's so funny. You can totally... T-Max is fucking beautiful, man. That's from Frank Jackson. He was like, you gotta shoot some T-Max. And I can't wait to get it in the enlarger. But there was this dude, I was buying some bullets, just 22s, varmint control. Dude had a tattoo that said, "Get her done." And his hat matched. It said, "Get her done." And it had the state of Oregon with the Confederate flag. And the dude was like, did you take a picture of that guy? And I'm like, yeah, I was watching. So the dude was playing with, he was I don't know. He wanted to see a Ruger and he wanted to see a Glock. So I watched his hands and his pockets and his wife's hands just to see if he brought his own magazine in the store. Cause I watch people's hands. It's just old habit. And I have a favorite market, that doesn't exist out here in the sticks, but it exists in Portland. And, there's a significant line every time you want to go in. And in fact, one of the times I went, I forgot a fucking mask. And I know a couple of the girls at the cheese counter, go fucking figure. and I bring them eggs, but I didn't get to give them eggs that time. I was pretty shocked that watching the cycle of the news, and I don't watch normal news. I I subscribe to something called Strat4. I get pushed things from Reuters, AP. Less so. I mean, I see if it says Reuters, I look at it immediately. If it says AP, because AP seems to be a little bit more activist lately, and also NPR. But I noticed when certain things are ramping up, that's when I saw the mask usage. Like even T-Max is pretty. And 99% of these people were like, yeah, you can take a picture. I don't care. I think most people are just over it. Like this dude who was looking something up for us. I think this may be out of order because this was at the last market, but people are just fucking weird right now. The people who are working though seem cool as fuck, and these are people you should, I hope you're tipping them if you can. And once the go ahead was made by the governor, it seemed that that's when all the employees started wearing the masks, including the girls who were sorting vegetable plants. And then, not everybody is wearing the masks. Even people who perhaps are in that age group who are more they're more apt to get fucked than a lot of other people. And I don't get the people who are riding bikes with fucking masks on. And I was so stoked to get this frame when I was picking up a pizza. Like, it's like the single dude in the car with his mask on. Yeah, I know. You're going to tell me, oh, he'd only had one mask. Well, it's cloth. Oh, he's not supposed to touch it. Well, if you sanitized your fucking hands like you should be doing all frickin' day, don't worry about touching your frickin' mask. I don't know. I just think it's a little bit of virtue signaling, a little bit of paranoia. I'm not so sure. I appreciate everybody who is working and exposing themselves to all sorts of vectors to let us eat. I think, and I tell each one of these people who we get food from some essential service, and I hate the word essential because I hate the word essential oils, but whatever. These are my two happy little dogs. I was stoked in the people who said, as I said, a lot of people allowed me to take their picture. And they were mostly at drive-thrus. Yeah, whatever. Hate me. I knew that the crowd that goes to Trader Joe's would be a different crowd to photograph. So I went out of my way and just, put in Google, where's a Trader Joe's? And I thought it was the two people at the end who were just staring at me was so cool. I was like, thanks for the frame. And I'm assuming that's a sanitizer of some kind in that sprayer, but holy shit, man. It's like, I hope we never see this again. I can't imagine what it's like to work all day and over a grill. Because it seemed like the only places you could really walk into and be presented with workers displaying what I wanted to see in my little, I guess and it was a project for me because I thought about it. Was I really going to do something, in the context of COVID-19, what I saw, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I want to, because I'm never going to see this again. And this dude with the oranges, he was totally stoked. Fine. You know, I think it's great that you're documenting this kind of stuff. And of course, I don't ask everybody. I just make the frame. And yeah, there's 2 pictures of Taco Bell workers in a row, and I'm not sure. I know they were at least a couple weeks, but yeah, whatever. Hate me, it's fine. And even the girl in the dispensary, I asked her if I could make a frame, and she she it's just I actually would like I'll probably make a print for her because I think that's a really cool frame. And through the whole thing, we got a baby goat. We actually had 2. One of them didn't make it. He had some kind of intestinal issue, and baby goats go fast. This little guy, he has a lot of self-confidence, and he's probably, I mean, there we have older goats too, but this little guy, I mean, he's a leader. That's all I gotta say. So this was kind of like a photo vlog, not a blog. It was interesting doing this because I got through, you know, what was that, 84 frames I selected. And now I'll drop them in this track of 4K and see how everything works out. If it does, you know, maybe I'll do one of these every once in a while. Well, thanks for being here. Totally appreciate it. And, you know, Slàinte.